My 25F boyfriend, 26 meters, of 10 months is best friends with his ex, 20s. F. She refuses to meet me and it's getting weird. I started dating my boyfriend, Jeff, 10 months ago. This relationship has been amazing so far and I definitely see a future with him. There's just one problem, he has a weird relationship with his ex that's starting to make me really uncomfortable and suspicious. When we started dating, he often talked about his best friend, Jenna, who he also owns a business with. He made it pretty clear that she was an important person to him. I knew they had spent vacations together and he mentioned hanging out with her parents a few times, too. A few weeks after I met him, I creeped through all his pictures on Facebook, because who doesn't do that with someone they just started dating? And saw a bunch of very couple-y pictures of him and Jenna. I also found her Instagram and looked through it, and it's filled with pictures of Jeff. A bunch of them had the hashtag relationship goals and other similar things. So in this way, I figured out that they had dated. I kept waiting for him to tell me that himself, but he never did. About 2 months after we started dating, I straight up asked him if he had dated her, and he admitted it. He said that they had met in school and had similar ideals and ambitions. They dated for 9 months and broke up a year and a half ago. I asked him why they'd broken up, and he said their relationship was awful and they worked much better as friends. They started their business after they broke up and things have, apparently, been going well between them since then. I started to get kind of suspicious about her, though, when time passed and I still hadn't met her. I met his friends and family pretty soon after we started dating, but I didn't meet Jenna. I went to numerous social events that I'd expect her to be at, but she was never there. There were a number of occasions when our paths almost crossed and I really thought I was going to meet her, but I never did. For example, I went to their office a few times to meet Jeff after work, and Jenna was already gone. Or sometimes I'd come to meet him and he'd come outside to meet me so I wouldn't have to go inside. Things started to get really weird about 3 months ago. Jeff and Jenna were having an open house night one evening. Jeff came over to my place after work and we had a few hours to delete before it was time to go, so we went out for dinner and then walked to the office. I was kind of expecting that I'd come in and help them set up, but when we were a block away, he started asking me if I had lots of work to do and saying there was a really nice coffee shop nearby. He actually walked me to the coffee shop and sat me down, then left to go get ready with Jenna. He told me to come to the office in an hour and a half. About half an hour before I left for the office, I texted Jeff and said I hoped everything was going well and asked if there was anything I could do. He replied and said, "Something's come up for Jenna and she can't be here tonight." I was getting really suspicious at this point. I went to the office half an hour later and sure enough, Jenna wasn't there. People kept asking about her all night and Jeff told them she'd had a family emergency. When we walked back to the car later that night, he told me what happened. While he and Jenna were getting ready, she had had a panic attack and said she was scared to meet me. She said she wouldn't be able to handle it and either had to leave, or he had to tell me not to come. He told her to leave, so she did. Since then, a couple more weird things have happened, and I still haven't met Jenna. Once, when I was hanging out with Jeff, we went to the office so he could grab something. When we were almost there, he looked at his phone and said, "Jenna's still there. Let's just go for a walk." So we walked around the block for half an hour and then came back when she was gone. After that happened, I told Jeff I felt really uncomfortable with the situation. I could respect that they were friends who had dated, but the way she was acting about me was very suspicious. He apologized and said he had actually been really mad at her, but wasn't sure what to do. He also told me a couple other weird stories about things she'd done. He went to a party a few weeks ago, I didn't go, and his phone was peacefully deleted that night. When he got home and charged his phone, it was full of texts from Jenna saying she was outside in her car and asking if I was there or not. She actually never even ended up going to the party, simply because she didn't know if I was there or not. Now here's the kicker, Jeff and Jenna are currently on a 2-week-long camping trip. They've been planning this trip since before I met him. But considering the way she's behaved, I feel very uncomfortable about him being on this trip. I just looked at her Instagram and she's posted 5 new pictures of him. As awesome as Jeff is, I'm really fed up with this and I'm seriously considering breaking things off when he gets back. Am I being unreasonable? DL, Doctor, my boyfriend is best friends/business partners with his ex. She has done a number of weird things to avoid meeting me and I'm so sick of it that I'm considering breaking up with him. Hi guys, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. You're not being unreasonable at all, and I can understand why you feel so upset about the whole situation. If I were you, I'd be asking Jeff a few questions. Does he know the root issue of why she doesn't want to meet you? Is she like this with anyone else? Explain to him that the situation is upsetting you and that you aren't comfortable with him going on a 2-week vacation with her. She is, after all, his ex-girlfriend, and the whole thing strikes me as a little strange. Maybe you could talk about meeting Jenna with Jeff present in a quieter, mutual place like a cafe or a restaurant. If Jeff was my boyfriend, I'd be looking for answers. Best of luck to you, and please post an update. It's kind of reassuring to hear that other people don't think I'm being unreasonable. I have actually asked him if he knows why she's being like this, and he says he's asked her the same thing and hasn't gotten a clear answer. He said he's asked her if she still has feelings for him, and she said no. They're actually already on their trip, so there's not much I can do about it at this point. I think I'll try probing him a bit more when he gets back and see if he might know a bit more than he's telling me about her behavior. Wow, I definitely find it weird that for a relationship that ended 18 months ago she's still so hung up on not meeting the new GF. Maybe she is struggling with anxiety, or maybe she is hiding something, still in love with your BF, still flirting with him, worse. I think trusting your gut in a situation like this is important. You raise a lot of flags. Why should your BF be protecting her by making you walk around the block for 30 minutes or sitting in a cafe for 90? It makes no sense, unless he cares more about her feelings / her getting hurt. He's willing to inconvenience you to accommodate some frankly extreme reactions on Jenna's part. It's to you how to proceed, but I don't think considering a breakup is unreasonable in this situation. You could also try a firm and honest convo with Jeff about WTF is going on. If you think he will be open to it. P.S. The campaign trip? Oh no. I wouldn't be okay with that, not after her shady maneuvering to avoid you. Thanks for your comment. It definitely does seem like he's trying way too hard to protect her feelings. Although he has said he thinks she's being unreasonable, he's still doing things to accommodate her. I dated a guy like this. He would always tell me about his best friend and how he was going to do things with her blah blah. Long story short, it was his girlfriend. He told her that I was a good friend he'd known a while. We had been dating around 4 months and they had already had a trip planned to Disney before we met, so they went. I trusted him, kicking myself for that one, and about 10 months in is when it all came out. I always told him I'd love to meet her, but something always came up to where she couldn't come. I see so many parallels between your situation and what happened to me. God, that's really awful. I'm sorry that happened to you. The one thing that makes me feel better about my situation is that I've met all his friends and family, except her, of course, and he's introduced me as his girlfriend. So it seems a little less likely that he's just passing me off as a friend. It's a precarious kind of situation. I don't think too many people would really fault you for wanting to cut it off. He's not exactly doing anything to assuage your concerns, and has outright lied to you on more than one occasion, and it's pretty apparent that he just enables this behavior in her rather than set reasonable boundaries for a friend/business partner. If you want to make it work, it should depend heavily on his transparency and actually enforcing healthy boundaries with this girl. Otherwise they're going to stick with being not together with his next girlfriend too. You definitely have a point. When I talk to him about it, he says lots of reassuring things, such as that he doesn't have any feelings for her, he knows she's being unreasonable, he loves me so much, etc. But the way he's acting is enabling her and making it easier for her to keep acting inappropriately. I think he does need more boundaries with her. If I do break up with him, I doubt the next person he dates will be thrilled about the situation either. The worst part to me is the camping trip. How the duck did you allow that? What are they doing? Are they drinking? Sharing a tent? God, if my boyfriend did something like that I couldn't be with him. Jeff doesn't drink much, but they are sharing a tent. Yeah, I'm starting to kind of share your sentiment about it. I don't care when it was planned, I cannot comprehend why you have not dumped him for going on a camping trip with his ex. Don't be a doormat. I can't be the only one who is thinking he's convinced Jenna to be in an open relationship with him, and she's not happy about it, and the op doesn't know the two of them are still in a relationship.